All right, so here we are today. I'm going to do two more examples beyond what we did in class today on graphing the quadratic functions. Okay, both of these are in vertex form, so we're going to identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, make a table, and then graph it. Okay, so my vertex is the number that makes this equal to 0, like we've always said in a parentheses. What number makes it equal to 0? Well, that's at 1. And then it's the same as this, so it's 1, negative 9. Okay, so I know the coordinates of my vertex. My axis of symmetry, also known as AOS, is going to be the same as this. So it's at x equals 1. It's always x equals. Okay, and it's not just 1, it's at x equals 1. Okay, so what we're going to do to center our table is we're going to put our vertex right in the middle. Monkey goes in the middle. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to show you, and I mentioned this in class, is since this is a positive number, it's going to make the graph smile. Okay? If it's a negative number like it is on the second example, it's going to make the graph frown. Okay. So once we establish this, we're going to build our table around this. So this is at 2, 3, 0, and negative 1. So that is our key point. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and we're going to dump it in the calculator to get our values. So I'm going to go to y equals, which is right here. Okay, and it doesn't matter what's showing down below. I'm going to clear this off, and I am going to type in exactly as it is here, 3 parentheses, x minus 1, and then I'm going to square it. Minus 9. Okay, and we are just going to go look at the table, which I showed you how you set up in class. So I'm going to go to the table, and I'm going to cursor down until 1 is in the middle, 1, negative 9. Okay, and there it is. There it is in the middle. You notice, you look at our y values, we've got symmetry about that point because they're going to be very similar. They're going to be the exact same on both sides. So it's at 2, negative 6. 0, negative 6, at 3, it's 3, and at negative 1, it's 3. If we want to do one more point, we also have the point 418, but that's going to be off the graph. Okay, so we are now going to go graph and label. So I'm going to do 1, negative 9, a little cross on that one, and then I'm going to do 2, negative 6, which is right there, and I'm going to go and do its partner over here at 0, negative 6. Okay. And then I'm going to go do 3, 3, and then I'm going to do the point negative 1, 3. Okay? I want to remind you, this is a smooth curve. It is not intended to have a sharp point at the bottom. That's an absolute value. I'm going to do the best I can to not make it, or to keep it nice and smooth. Okay? All right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to draw in our axis of symmetry. And that's at x is equal to 1. And this is our vertex, and I'm going to label that as 1, negative 9. Okay, so we need to label all that stuff on there. We're just going to indicate the points. Label the axis of symmetry. It's a dotted line because the graph is the same on both sides. And then here's our vertex at 1, negative 9. Okay? All right, so let's look at net number 5. So now what I'm going to get out front is I've got a negative 2, and since that's negative, it's going to make my graph frown. Now if you notice, it did smile because it opened upward. That's what I mean by the graph smile. So since this frowns, it's negative, it's going to open downward. Okay? All right, so what is our vertex? So I want you to think about what number makes this equal to 0. That's at negative 3. And so what is the y-coordinate of our vertex? Is 6. Okay, so I'm going to go put that right here. Okay, what is our axis of symmetry? Same thing as this, so it's x equals, it is a vertical line, negative 3. Okay, I'm actually going to go a little bit out of order this time, so I'm going to go graph negative 3, 6, and there's my vertex. And I know it's going to be opening down, so all the points should be down here. So I'm going to do it's negative 3, 6. and I'm going to draw on my axis of symmetry. Let's put it right here and label that as x equals -3. Okay? All right, so let's go do the rest of our points. Okay, if I did it without a calculator, first of all, this would be, I'm getting bigger as I go down, so that's -2, -1, this is -4, this is -5. Okay, if I did plug this in, -2 plus 3 is 1, squared is still 1, times -2 is -2, plus 6 is 4. And if this is 4, if this one's 4, this one should also be. So if I plug in -4, I get -4 plus 3 is 1, -1. Squared is 1, times -2 is -2, plus 6 is 4. Okay, and you could do that for each of these. We could also go type it in here. So I went y is equal to -2, parentheses, x plus 3, square it, plus 6, and then I'm going to go look at my table. Okay, but this time I want to get -3 right in the middle, and I got a cursor up in the left hand or in the x column. Oh, look at that. So is it -3,6? It was at -2,4 and -4,4. At -1, it's -2. Okay? And at -5, it's also -2. All right. So if I go, I've already plotted my vertex. So now I'm going to do -2, 4, which here's -2, and that's 4. Knowing I have symmetry over here, I can go straight across, and there's -4, 4. All right. Our next point here, I'm going to do -1, -2, and -5 is going to be right over here. So I have symmetry as I go down. If you notice, this graph is a little bit wider than the last one. And the reason for that is as this number gets bigger out in front, ignoring the positive or negative, the more it stretches it or makes it narrower because I stretch each point. So that was an example. We went and identified the vertex. So in other words, by the way, if I had this, y is equal to x minus h squared plus k, my vertex would be at h, because it's what number makes is 0, is h comma k. My axis of symmetry, or AOS, would be at x is equal to h. And if a is positive, the graph smiles. If a is negative, whoopsie, the graph frowns. Okay? All right, so I hope this helped on how to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the table, and the graph. Okay? All right. See you in class.